Welcome back to another Explainer. Today we're cracking open the campaign codex to unpack the absolutely wild, unhinged events of Season 3 of this incredible tabletop RPG. If you've been following the overarching storyline, you already know this campaign masterfully balances gritty sci-fi survival with, well, completely unpredictable player choices driven by the sheer chaos of the dice. Season 3 took our party on a massive upward trajectory. I mean, they literally rose from the ashes of a ruined building to crossing paths with some of the biggest, baddest players in the galaxy. So we're going to distill hours and hours of tabletop chaos into a clean visual roadmap, just so you can grasp exactly how this party actually survived.
Here is our quest log for today. We're going to meet the new Sector Rangers, break down the Elrude orphanage bombing, and look at Saw Gerrera's massive propaganda war. Then we'll track the party's relocation to Tarina Base, detail their slaver heist, and wrap the whole thing up with loot, legacy, and family.
Section 1. Meet the Sector Rangers. Okay, let's dive right into this because literally everything in this season stems from the party's official promotion on the planet Elrude. The group finally leveled up from wandering mercenaries to officially sanctioned Sector Rangers. It gave them massive jurisdiction, sure, but it also painted massive targets right on their backs. And let me tell you, these newly minted Sector Rangers boast a truly eclectic roster. First up, we've got Kiana, the senior ranger and fearless Mandalorian leader who is flanked by her fellow Mandalorian Thea. Then there's Khalid, stepping up as the heavily armed enforcer and gadgeteer. Oh, and you can't forget B-1337, who is, well, quite frankly, a homicidal droid. We've also got Piper, a high-profile target who completely wiped her identity to operate undercover as the bounty hunter Jed. And to round out this totally bizarre tactical unit, eBayer, a Jawa who somehow manages to be both a cryptocurrency miner and a massively famous reality TV star. The internal dynamic of this group is perfectly captured by B-1337. He absolutely despises what he calls meat sacks, and his terrifying little declaration, "This isn't democracy, this is the Republic of B-1337, just brilliantly illustrates his hilarious take on leadership. I mean, think about it. You've got a party leader trying to run a legitimate law enforcement operation, and their medical bay and security are run by a droid dreaming of a robot uprising. It is absolute tabletop gold.
Section 2, the Elrude orphanage bombing. So, that highly volatile mix of characters, it directly led to the inciting incident of the season. What was supposed to be a simple security sweep spiraled into total disaster.
The whole operation broke down in just 4 chaotic hours. In Hour 1, the party discovers mechanical bugs rigged with explosives hiding in the vents. To their credit, Hour 2 was a success. They managed to evacuate all the orphans. Good job, right? But by Hour 3, things go completely sideways. Kiana, trying to neutralize the threat in the dark, decides to use sniper fire against these tiny, skittering droids. You can guess what happened next. It triggered a massive chain reaction of detonations. By Hour 4, it resulted in the total structural collapse of the building. They were hired to protect the venue, and instead, they completely leveled it to the ground. Now, the party tried to spin this as a massive, heroic victory, mostly because, hey, no orphans were harmed. But there was a catch. During the collapse, a local squib pest exterminator named Jesse got caught up in the rubble. His foot was completely severed. Thankfully, it was quickly reattached by medical responders, but still, the party then boldly stood up in front of the press, claiming a flawless victory over terrorism, just desperately hoping nobody would look too closely at the flattened building behind them or, Jesse's fresh stitches. Section 3, Saw Gerrera's propaganda war. The party desperately needed that good press, because the destruction of that orphanage thrust them right into the middle of a massive galactic conflict. Suddenly, our Sector Rangers are walking a razor-thin political tightrope between 2 terrifyingly competent adversaries. On one side, you have Saw Gerrera. He represents this chaotic, extreme wing of the rebellion, and he's perfectly willing to target an orphanage just to make a political statement against the establishment. On the flip side, you have Grand Admiral Thrawn, representing the cold, rigid, and overwhelming bureaucratic control of the Empire. We're looking at 2 entirely different, extremely dangerous ideologies here. For a tabletop party to navigate a scenario like this, it's incredibly difficult. One wrong word to Gerrera's media network, or a single misstep in front of Thrawn's ruthless drone warfare, and you were looking at an instant party wipe. Here is exactly how that propaganda war played out. First, Kiana organizes a public press conference at the airfield to assure the citizens of Elrude that the Rangers have everything under control. But right in the middle of her speech, Saw Gerrera hacks their feed from an orbiting satellite. He broadcasts a pre-recorded propaganda message claiming the bombing was his victory.
Well, the Empire's response was swift and terrifying. Imperial TIE fighters blow the hacking satellite out of the sky, and then Thrawn authorizes precise drone strikes across the city, completely wiping out Guerrera's local sleeper cells. So, how did the party respond to all this? The only way they knew how. They updated the public bounty on Guerrera from dead or alive to simply dead. Section 4. Relocating to Trina Base. With Elrude rapidly turning into a hotbed of Imperial scrutiny and rebel retaliation, the Rangers realized it was time to pack up and establish a new home. To avoid the heat, the party geographically expanded their footprint. They kept their original jurisdiction on Elrude, but they shifted their primary operations to Tarina, specifically an orbiting space station. This gave them a crucial bit of tactical distance. From there, they expanded their patrols to Mercy, which is this pharmaceutical wonderland and a known hub for underground assassins. They also strengthened their ties to Coin, the local Mandalorian homeworld, providing them with a much-needed safe haven away from the prying eyes of the main Imperial forces.
And honestly, they really needed that distance because of the looming shadow of the Tarkin Doctrine. Throughout the season, the party just kept hearing whispers of this escalating Imperial protocol. Basically, it meant the Empire was upgrading its response to any unrest with overwhelming, terrifying military force. For a tabletop player, hearing about an overarching threat like this is a massive wake-up call. It means the days of just shooting your way out of every single problem are officially over. They aren't just dealing with local bureaucracy anymore. They're facing the full, unchecked wrath of the Imperial military. Section 5. Taking on the Slavers. To maintain their cover as active law enforcement while quietly maneuvering around these massive threats, the party took on a covert infiltration mission on the planet Mercy to dismantle a slaving ring. Now, because this party never does anything the normal way, they didn't just kick the door down, guns blazing. Instead, they leaned hard into E-Biker the Jaw's massive celebrity status. They walked right into the slaver's den using a completely ridiculous fake reality TV show cover identity called So You Think You're Famous and Then You Die. Seriously, they looked these slavers in the eye and claimed they weren't cops, but rather television producers looking for eager new contestants. The steps of this heist are an absolute masterclass in tabletop deception. Step 1. Ebayer and Jed stroll right into this heavily guarded facility, completely unarmed and in civilian clothing. Step 2. Ebayer pitches, So You Think You're Famous and Then You Die, to the Ivarian slaver running the front desk, claiming they desperately needed bodies for a lethal entertainment broadcast. And through sheer charisma and, let's be honest, some incredibly lucky dice rolls, Step 3 was a total success. They actually negotiated the release of 49 captured mercenaries under the guise of buying TV show contestants. They freed them without firing a single blaster shot. Unbelievable. Section 6. Loot, Legacy, and Family. As we close the book on Season 3, we have to look at the tangible rewards the party walked away with, and maybe more importantly, the legacy they're building. Because let's face it, a good tabletop campaign is nothing without some top-tier loot. By the end of the season, Kiana had fully upgraded to this gleaming silver prosthetic arm, which she dramatically hides under her cape. The whole party acquired custom-built Mandalorian gauntlets to really increase their tactical edge. And in this beautiful narrative payoff, Thea was gifted an ancient sword bearing her Mandalorian family crest, perfectly tying her character's progression right back to the rich lore of her clan. Ultimately, this whole season tied back to one central, unexpected theme. Throughout all the chaos, the bombings, and the intense political warfare, their Mandalorian contact, Captain Dom Diesel, just kept repeating, family first. It started out as a funny movie reference, but it genuinely became the emotional core of the season. Remember those displaced orphans from the exploded building? Well, Dom and the Mandalorian clan actually stepped in to adopt them. They gave those foundlings a new home on Coin, turning what was a disastrous mistake into a genuinely heartwarming victory. But as we look ahead, the galaxy is only getting more dangerous. So we have to ask, with the Tarkin Doctrine bringing an absolute iron fist down on the galaxy, how will this chaotic, found family survive the Empire's tightening grip in Season 4? Their enemies are getting bigger, the stakes are getting so much higher, and their luck, well, it can only hold out for so long. That wraps up this campaign codex. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.